Hello, everyone. This is Alien Reddit Stories, where I tell alien stories off of Reddit. My friend Johnny Blix, a fellow YouTuber, he insists that I put an intro in here, so here it goes. Story number 1. Alright, my dog noticed before I did. It was about 4:44 in the afternoon during the month of April that year. News reports said thunderstorms and lightning, but the storm was expected later that night. Walking to the front door, I saw 3 gray clouds above my neighbors' homes. Small cloud, mid-sized cloud, and a large cylinder cloud. When I opened the door to get a better look, the small cloud whipped past my house just above the rooftop, while the other 2 began to slowly fade in and out of my vision as though my eyes were tearing up. Then it was dark, about 9:15, and my wife and I were standing in the door looking up into the sky where the clouds were. Only now, the small cloud was no longer a cloud, but a black craft with orange lights beneath it. It was sitting stationary in the sky just up the hill from my home and about 100 feet off the ground. I ran to the car keys and told my wife, "We're going to see what this is." We were headed out of the house, but our dog would not budge. He typically ran when you cracked the door open, but this time, with the door wide open, he did not want to leave the house. I had to carry him. We jumped in the car. I drove about a block up the hill. At the top of the hill, I stopped in the middle of the street. The ship was just directly overhead. No sound. It was blurry to look at. It was directly overhead. If I had a rock, I believe I could have hit it. The orange light was more than a light. It was a rectangle spinning about a straight line. Very interesting configuration and timing to the spin has struck me. That spin has stuck with me. As I'm looking at the ship and dazed by the spin, the ship simply rose directly up higher and higher into the clouds and was gone. Like a whisper, it was no longer there. I got back into my car. It was 11:15. All the lights in the neighborhood were out, and that story just ends there. So why would you just end your story like that? You're not a good human being for that, all right? Sorry, I read these stories as you hear them. I actually read a couple stories earlier, and they were so bad I just had to not put them in. This one here I'm gonna leave in because I kind of like it. All right. Story number 2. I remember like it was yesterday, June 12th, 1989, at 11:37 p.m. I walked outside to take the garbage out onto my street. I heard what I thought was an animal rustling around in the woods. Stupid me decided to inquire what it could be. Yeah, don't do that. At least get back into a house. As I got closer to the noise, it suddenly stopped, and in the dark, I saw a silhouette of what appeared to be a 7-foot man. Yikes. I yelled in an attempt to scare it off, but it just stared at me with bright green eyes. Before I knew it, this creature was belly to chest with me and put his arms on my shoulders and dragged me into the woods. I was definitely knocked unconscious because I don't remember anything after this besides some major soreness in places I'd rather not divulge. Of course, none of this actually happened, but if it were to happen, I'd imagine it would kind of go down this way or something similar. Really, bro? Why do you have to have things in certain places? You're a weird dude, bro. And oh my God, you got me. You know what? For your deception, the story stays in. Story number 3. Can't remember exactly. I walked outside of my house around 11 p.m. when suddenly I floated midair. No bright beam or nothing, just floating. I was at the ship when suddenly a bright light shone on me. Like something used in surgery, I woke up to see 2 aliens who looked like normal people, but they were balding and had small pupils. They were no taller than a toddler. Anyways, they asked me what earth noise they should listen to. They also had this collar, which I could assume to be a translator of some sort. Back to the earth noise, I suggested some grunge rock, stuff like Nirvana, Soundgarden. Understandable. They took my phone, dismantled it, and put it up for research. They asked me where they can play the earth noise from my phone, but got pissed at me when I said to put it back together to see how it works. They fixed my phone, and I made a run for it while they were distracted. They walked like a penguin as I ran from them, but their legs grew like crazy and started walking meters for every step. I escaped the ship, which I couldn't get a clear view of. Looked like some sort of jet or aircraft. Nothing like the frisbee you guys saw. Alright, I think it's going to be the final one here. Final story. It was the middle of the night, and I was on a camping trip with my friends. I woke up randomly and realized I needed to pee. I walked outside of my tent into the cold darkness. I walked to the nearest bush, which wasn't very near, and did my thing right there. Right before I turned around to head back, I thought I saw a light flicker behind me, but as I turned around, it was gone. I must have been seeing things. I was half asleep after all. But then, it happened. As I stood a step inside of my tent, the ground suddenly and violently shook from it. Since I was barely awake, just knocked me off of my feet and left me lying on top of the tent. Then a bright light suddenly illuminated the area around me just as my friends woke up. But just before I had the chance to tell them anything, the tent I was on top of, and a small piece of the ground beneath got sucked up into the light. My friends' worried cries faded away as everything became dark. What came next were only two brief flashes. Two strange, lanky figures with glowing eyes, flashing lights, strange bellowing noises, and what sounded like a crowd cheering. The next thing I knew, I was in the same place I had been when I had been abducted. A chunk of earth missing from where my tent had stood. But now, there were more holes, exactly where my friends' tents had been. It seemed a similar fate befell them. But they had not returned. I left the scene in my car as fast as possible. I needed to tell the authorities, the government, and everyone else. But when I told the police, they told me to When I told the police, they told me to go with them to a room at the back of the police station, politely put a bullet through my head. It appears they have been ordered to keep the aliens a secret from this public, for reasons I don't know. And that is the end. I don't really know how to finish the story. And I also just don't ask how I'm writing this from beyond the grave, okay? Oh my god, you two, bro. 2 times you guys got me. You guys are making a mockery out of alien Reddit story. Do you know that? The first 2 stories were so bad. I'm talking horrifying. They read on like the most illiterate Stephen King versions I've ever read in my life. And then I was like, this is bad. I was like almost like 6 minutes into this 4 minutes into the story, and I was like, this is going nowhere. I just literally just stopped making it. I was like, you know what? I usually just go with the story as you guys hear them, because I like the process just as much as you guys like hearing it. I don't want to make this into work and be all like monotonous and let me get the best stories and listen. All right, this is about the suspense. This is about the joy of hearing new stories, and I want that feeling too. You don't think I want to have fun? You guys just consume content, and then you don't think I want to have fun as well? Come on, man. Don't be mad at me. I'm just trying to live a life like you guys are living here on Alien Reddit stories. So beyond those stories, the middle story was kind of cool. To be honest, I rambled so much I don't even remember what it was about. Well, let me go back and see if I can get it. Oh yeah, the house. Oh yes. The guy that flew up and the earth noise guys that took his phone. Okay, what the heck was that? The guy that took apart his phones, he's like their limbs got longer as they try to catch up with him. It sounded like some horrifying dream. Yeah, you know what? I don't believe that story. I don't believe any of these stories. I don't believe I wasted your time like this. But let me ask you a question. Wasn't that fun? Are you not entertained? If you are not entertained, I'm sorry. Like, what can I do? I'm literally just on YouTube, bro. Like, I'm just trying to make stories for you, baby. If you want to do something for me, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, all right? Do it. Do it! It will liberate you. And I'll see you next time on Alien Reddit Stories.